April 20th, 2018.
This is Nerd Bourbon episode 46. I am Seth Sturgill.
And I'm Todd Sturgill. I'm disappointed in you.
Why?
I expect a stupid opening from you at all times.
I can't. I had to reserve that because we had to insert that prerequisite 420 joke at this moment.
That's right. That's right.
I couldn't double up on stupid this week, Todd. If you're gonna record an episode on 420, you can't also have a dumb intro. So, 420 blaze it. Marijuana.
Woo.
Marijuana is funny.
That's some very high energy right there.
This is the energy you've come to know and love, Todd. We're here. We're ready to sling that good tent this week. You got that good tent for us this week, Todd? That good tent?
Now, I'm going to say this right now. I want everyone to know how long you've been planning on saying this.
I've been saying it between the two of us for a long time.
Mm-hmm. He's been telling me for the past at least a week and a half. I'm going to say it on the podcast this week. I'm like,
fucking Todd was, because you've been playing a lot of video games lately. And every time you're like...
More so, yeah.
Yeah, you've been playing a lot of games, kind of going through... We've both been kind of going through backlog stuff. And yours is more interesting to talk about than mine. But you're like, oh, I'm about to start this finally. And I'm like, oh, that's going to be some good podcast content. You'll be slinging that good tent this week, huh, boy? So, tell you what. Why don't you go ahead and start us off this week? Why don't you roll out the red carpet and let us know what you've been up to this week?
Well, after I think I've owned this game for about 5 months at this point.
When did it come out?
I don't know.
Well, no, because you got it for a birthday present, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah. He bought it.
Birthday was in January.
Yeah.
So you've had it for 3 months.
Yeah, still feels longer.
Yeah.
Those 3 months went by fucking quick.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, I finally sat there and I have played through Mario Odyssey in one sick, disgusting sitting.
Yeah, it was pretty gross. I was literally talking to you that morning, and you were like, "Oh, you know what? Fuck it. Today's the day. I'm gonna play Mario." I'm like, "Fucking wahoo!" Basically, I was like, "Finally, I can't wait to hear you talk about it." And then later that afternoon, I woke up and I was just checking my mail, living my day, and you were like, "Yeah, that game was good."
And I legitimately send you a picture of the credits.
Yeah. I was like, "Wow, dude." I actually didn't think you were gonna do it.
Yeah. Because again, you know how I play games. There's a couple games where I've taken it easy and taken it slow, like Assassin's Creed Origins. But for the most part, I live by a speedrun sort of mindset of just kind of getting what I need from a game and just moving on. I mean,
it works for you. It's so funny because I just I can't even that part of my brain just does not even exist. I don't know. I can't even fathom it. It's an alien concept to me.
It's something that I take into my actual life, and on some real shit. I live by the code of the speedrun, in all aspects of my life.
Fair enough, I guess.
But yeah, Mario Odyssey. My initial playthrough. I was telling you, I'm probably still gonna actually play around with it and maybe do some of the side shit. Because I think I ended the game with 131 moons, which is fucking nothing to the 800 or some bullshit.
There are 800 plus base moons, and if you want the golden sale for the Odyssey, you'll need to max out your moon counter at 999, which I've done.
You say I'm disgusting. No.
I've played that game. I think I ended up with over 60 hours in that game. So.
Shit. So how I personally feel about the game, because I think you've talked about it and talked about it enough.
Yeah.
Is just I love it. It was a great time. And honestly, I think you said something similar to yourself. Similar is where it reminds you of Mario 64.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that was very intentional on the developer's part.
Yeah, and I definitely got that from it, and that was shit. other than like Mario Sunshine, that was like the last Mario I played.
Yeah, it's so funny. You were telling me. I asked you when you were playing this. I was like, so when's the last time you actually played a 3D Mario game or a Mario game at all, really? And you were like, shit.
Yep.
I think Mario Sunshine. I was like, God, no way. Mario Galaxy is like, these are some of the best games of all time. I can't believe you haven't. It's so crazy to me.
It's kind of the thing. Is like I didn't really fuck around with like the Wii U and the Wii at that extent. Like when that shit was on, but I'm happy I played this one because it was like I love everything they did with like Cappy and like the possession or like what do they call it? What do they call it?
They call it capturing.
It's fucking possession. Just
I think. Well, see, everybody's like, "Oh, that's stupid." I think what they're going for is, I think it's a pun. Capture. I think that's what they're going for there.
I guess. But that whole aspect of it was just like really entertaining because again, like I think what is it like when this game first got announced, like our thumbnail on that episode is like the fucking T-Rex.
Yes,
that's still one of my favorite parts. Like
oh,
that shit was incredible.
That is what I was gonna ask. What ended up being some of your favorite captures?
The T-Rex is up there.
He's a highlight, and there's a couple in the game.
But like actual like just like of the like enemies in the game, I'd have to say I don't know what they're called, but I think they're one of your favorites as well. Is the one in Bowser's Castle
with
little
the noses?
Pokeboys. Yes,
they're called like pick-picks or something like that. Yeah,
that sounds. Those are good.
Yeah, those are some
like
of my favorites.
Shit, Bowser's Castle in that game is awesome, actually.
Yeah, I love the way I don't love the way that it's like structured where it's kind of almost like floating islands a little bit.
Yeah, but like the actual design of it,
yeah,
the art of it, like that I actually love. Like that's
the
incredible.
art and the music and stuff. Yeah,
like I love those like fucking statues of Bowser, like the dual statues, like that.
There's some good like Japanese imagery in there too. Like there's like lucky cat statues and lanterns and stuff. It's a very, very pretty kingdom.
Yeah, I can't say I hated any of the kingdoms. Like I had fun with like every single one of them.
Yeah, I don't think I hate. I don't really dislike any of the kingdoms in the game. I think they're all really solid.
I'll say this: I think the only thing that ever annoyed me in that game was the what kingdom was that? I think it was in the seaside. Was it the Seaside Kingdom? The octopus.
Oh, the one. Are you talking about the octopus boss or the?
Yeah, the octopus boss annoyed me.
Really?
It's like I didn't have issues with it. Like it wasn't like difficult, but it was just like it just annoyed me because I hated. I don't know. I just hated the controls of the thing you had to use. I forget what that was. That was like the little octopus squid thing.
Really,
the bubble.
I loved that. I thought that was great.
I don't like the controls on those.
I really liked it because I liked that he's almost fucking water bending a little bit. Like he's got that water bubble that he can use to like propel himself, but then you have to like re-up on the water to get more.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. I just didn't mind. I just like the controls annoyed me to a certain extent.
Yeah, I mean teach his own. Yeah.
That's why we're slinging the tent. We're getting a little more. But I think if I had to say what my favorite kingdom was, it was probably the Luncheon Kingdom. I love that shit.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
I absolutely like that shit. Just entertained the hell out of me, and I actually enjoyed the little fireball, little lava ball.
That's a fun one.
Yeah, that's just a fun one. I think there's like a little side thing I did where you had to like make your way across these like these. You had to like go into these two pots basically.
Yes.
Yeah, that was fun. Annoying but fun.
I'll say this: if there's a kingdom that didn't really do it for me, if I had to pick one, and I still think it's okay, it's it's either called the Lost Kingdom or the Forgotten Kingdom or whatever. The one where like
you're in there for like is it the one where you fight the dragon?
No, that's the Ruin Kingdom.
No. Yeah. The Lost Kingdom is the one where you.
It's the one with all the weird looking trees and the wigglers and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah,
that one didn't really do it for me. Like I don't hate it, but it didn't really do it for me.
I mean, it's just a quick and easy get the fuck out of there one. Just
well, it's
like
pretty
the Forbidden Kingdom.
It's a pretty it's a pretty short kingdom. Like even if you're 100%ing it, like it's one of the kingdoms where there's not a whole lot of moons. Like there are some kingdoms like the Sand Kingdom that have like just. I mean, I think the Sand Kingdom literally has like 100 moons just in it alone.
That's disgusting.
Like if you go for 100% and you do the post game moons, I think it literally has like maybe over 100. I can't remember exactly, but it has a lot of fucking moons. And then like there's like the Forgotten Kingdom or Lost Kingdom, or whatever it's called. I think it only has like 30, like even post game. So it's not. There's just not a lot to do there, and I don't think I really like the Wiggler capture, like the one where you have to like kind of extend your body and then it kind of the rest of the body kind of follows it.
That's actually one of my favorites, actually.
Yeah, I really like that, and it's used in interesting ways later in the game, like if you end up doing more of the post game content. But like, it's not really in the actual stage. I'm just like it almost feels like that stage was designed, or that kingdom was designed, like, to get a good use out of the enemies they put in there.
And it's because it is really designed around like the Wigglers, and like that's really the main way to get around that area.
Yeah, it almost, the kingdom almost ends up feeling like, the kingdom itself ends up feeling like a little bit of an afterthought, in my opinion. Other than
I
that,
can agree with that.
Other than that, though, they're great. Yeah, I love. I was telling you this. Like, my favorite thing about Mario Odyssey is just like how, you know, the Wooded Kingdom, for example, that stilt motherfucker, the stilt acorn guy, whatever they're called. These are things like these. Some of these captures are so, like, their movements and the way they play are so unique. Like, you could make an entire game based on just these captures.
Yeah,
you know,
that's actually some real shit.
You could imagine playing an indie game where it controls like the Wiggler capture or something. You know, I just it's really like impressive how much, like, how it all feels natural and nothing feels, in terms of the capture mechanics, nothing feels like it's undercooked. Like, everything feels good.
Okay.
So
one of my most entertaining captures, because I didn't think that was going to be a thing, is where you it's in New Donk City, where you it's the dude with the RC car.
Ah, yes. Where you possess the man.
Yes. I was as I was doing it, I'm like, all right, this is a thing now.
Yeah, it's pretty disturbing. And you were talking to me about it, how you felt about it, man. That New Donk City Festival moment, though.
Oh, that was insane. Like, that was shit.
One of my favorite modern gaming moments.
Yeah, it's
good.
Like, I got emotional. I was like, that's just insane the way they handled that. Like, it was so fucking cool.
Yeah, Mario Odyssey does a lot, both in terms of like the New Donk City Festival, obviously, but then also like with the ending and stuff. Like, it really plays on the nostalgia of like old school Mario fans, and like it really there's several moments in Mario Odyssey where I definitely got a lump in my throat. And I was even telling you, like, when you first start the game and you're first in the Cascade Kingdom and it plays that swell of music. And it's just so beautiful, and you see the waterfalls and stuff like that, and I'm just like, God damn it, like, this sense of just like wonder and discovery is everything Mario is. And despite some of the minor issues I have with Mario Odyssey, like, the fact that it captures that feeling so well is like I said, it's everything Mario is.
Yeah.
You know.
And that feeling, like, really never went away when I was playing that game. Because even in my speedrunning mindset, I still found myself doing some side shit and finding myself, like, exploring.
Well, you can't help but, because, I mean,
you can't help. Yeah, it's like,
the argument
all
can be
interesting.
made. The argument can be made that just in terms of the structure of the game, like, it's like all kind of side content.
Yeah.
You know, very few actual, I guess, quote unquote, story related moons. You know, but I'm glad you finally played it.
I do have to shout out my favorite fight.
Okay.
I think I was talking to you when I was doing it. Is that fucking, like, Aztec head, basically?
Oh yeah, that's a great fight. Yeah.
Basically, like making he was catching those hands. Basically.
Yeah, it's a great part.
Oh
I really
shit.
like it's funny because that game is actually not super difficult, especially in some of the fights. Like that actually in the base game is one of the more challenging fights, even though it isn't very challenging. But
Mm.
like the post game stuff, like I really like that the game included the dark side and the darker side of the moon for like that pure those hardcore Mario fans, those like white knuckle, they want a real challenge. Like I'm telling you, that stuff's hard. And like I heard a lot of people after Mario Odyssey came out say, "Oh, like this is the easiest 3D Mario game by far." And I'm like, dude, anybody who says that game is easy has not done the post game
They
content.
didn't do like they never even attempted the
Because
post
some of
game
that
shit.
shit is really hard, and it's not as
Okay.
hard as like people think of like Champions Road and 3D World and a lot of post game content in both Mario Galaxy games. It's not as tough as that stuff, but like it's still very very difficult, and it will test you. And that challenge is there if you want it, you know.
Mm.
And I appreciate that the game did that. So yeah, I'm really happy you played the game finally though.
Oh
It
shit.
did
So am
did
I.
my heart good. It warmed my 10-year-old heart.
Mm. Let's move on to the next game that I've played through.
Which you just finished like yesterday, right?
Yes, and that was me attempting to like take my time with it, and I still like I think only put in like 7 hours.
Right.
Um, this is actually the first time I've ever played through this game. I didn't play it when it originally came out. Didn't play it when it came out again on another console. Is Shadow of the Colossus, the remaster on PS4. I don't even know where to start with this game because I fell in love, honestly.
It's a great game.
Um, it is kind of like I kind of thought this to myself and I said it to you. Is it's kind of like the perfect game for me.
It
Like,
is, and I knew it was too. Like when it came out, like, and I was kind of happy that it came out because like you can tell just by looking at it that Blue Point has done an amazing job with the
oh,
remaster.
oh yeah.
But I knew that it was going to be right up your alley. Just the pure kind of boss fight, I knew it was going to
Hmm.
be right up your alley.
It's like story is there if you give a shit. Like I got like the gist of the story, but uh, what you can from it.
Well, with Fumito Ueda's games, like he doesn't he likes the story to be a lot more interpretive and ambiguous,
Yeah,
and like
yeah. That's it.
up to the player to
Mm-hmm.
decide. So it's not the story in his games are never in your face.
Mm-hmm. Now, it only took me about 7 hours to beat it. I think you thought I think you thought I would like put in about 10 to something, 10 to
Yeah,
like 15 maybe.
I think you were like, oh, guess how many hours I put. I was like, I don't know, 10. That's about what I thought. I figured, it's been years and years since I've played Shadow of the Colossus. So, and I own the remaster. I just haven't made the time to replay it yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you told me that, to my memory, I thought I remembered it being about like a 10 to 15 hour game.
I mean, oh, it definitely could be. There's like I don't know if like all this extra shit that they added like is just from this remaster.
Some of it is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming some of it is. I don't know exactly what the fuck's was like in the original.
There are like collectibles and stuff
Yeah, I didn't do any of that
that
shit.
you technically could look out for if you wanted to.
I've cut off a lizard's tail at one point and collected it.
Yeah, there's some shit that you can collect, and there's yeah.
I
But
know
other
that
than
shit like upgrades your like stamina and health to like a stupid
Right.
degree that you don't even need.
right, yeah,
Because like you can basically do all that shit without doing any of that. I did die twice to dumb deaths.
oh, throughout the entire game.
Yeah.
That's impressive, actually, because I definitely, when I first played the game back on PS2, like, I definitely died more than that.
Oh no, I only died twice, and it was the first one that actually fucked me up was the first of the small boys.
Hmm.
He basically beat the shit out of me, and I could not get away from him. So I would get up, he'd knock me away again. Get up, knock me away again. I was like, oh, I was like, oh no.
Beautiful.
that was like before. That was like kind of before like I figured out what the deal was, and after I figured out what the deal was, I'm bitch, beat his ass. And that's actually my favorite thing about this. I really did not know anything about the game. I've seen like bits and pieces of like gameplay throughout the years, but there's a lot of like the Colossi or whatever that I didn't even know about. Did not know about the small boys. Did not know about them.
Right.
And those two are actually up there. Like I enjoy those because like they're so fucking fast.
So I'm actually reading about some of the content. This is actually really interesting.
This is be interesting for me because I actually don't know what the hell they added to this.
So like the time attack mode is actually pretty cool. Like I'm reading.
I've been fucking with it.
Yeah, I'm reading this Polygon article. It's after you beat the game on a given difficulty, you'll start over in a new game plus. In this new game, you can kneel in front of any of the Colossus statues in the Shrine of Worship to start a time attack for that Colossus.
Mm-hmm.
These are stripped-down fights with the Colossus that skip over all of the writing around the countryside. These fights have a goal, a time limit to aim for. Yep. And for every 2 time attacks that you successfully complete, an item will appear in the pool at the north end of the Shrine of Worship. And these items can be anything from a new color scheme for aggro to a new weapon or new information on your map. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I actually
want to fuck with it. I did the first Colossus.
And
recently,
I know that
and I'm gonna...
in addition to the lizards and the fruit trees that were in the original game, they also added these gold coins that are scattered in like I remember one of my channels. I'll shout him out, Brian PS4 Trophies, one of my favorite YouTube channels. Shout out to you, Brian. You my boy. Helped me out with many a platinum.
Shit, help me out with Assassin's Creed.
Shit. But he was looking for all these gold coins. He wanted to get a full collectible guide for him out before the game came out, and I think he found the last one literally like the day it came out or something like that, and got his video out just in time. But there's 79 gold coins scattered throughout the world.
Yeah, I'll be real. I did not find a single one.
Yeah, they're like in trolley locations. Like he had to fucking comb that game to find them. Apparently collecting all of them gets you a special sword. I think it's called like, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's called like Dorman's sword or something like that.
Okay.
And I think the light that comes off of it is like black.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
If I'm not mistaken. So.
I mean, it's kind of cool, but then the other part of me is like, shit, to collect all that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's more so just for the fans who just really want to like live in that game, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's besides the point. It's funny to talk about a game like Shadow of the Colossus in like video gamey terms like that. Like, oh, you find these collectibles and unlock a sword. It's funny because the game is so like, I don't know. There's such a like otherworldly quality about that game. Like, like it really does feel, and you know, a lot has been made over the years about the controls of the game and the stamina management and the horse controls and stuff like that.
Honestly, none of that really bothered me.
No, and moreover, I think it's important. I think like if that stuff just worked exactly the way you wanted it to, you wouldn't feel as connected to the world.
The stamina management is like shit. Like without that being a key part of the game, like shit, the game would be fucking simple at that point.
Yeah, and I mean it goes back to, and I haven't, full disclosure, I haven't actually had time to play The Last Guardian yet. Again, I own it. But that's another thing is people were like shitting on The Last Guardian when it came out, saying like, oh my god, it's so obtuse and annoying and hard to, the creature doesn't listen to you half the time. And it's like, well, that's how...
It's an actual animal.
Yeah, like, have you not owned a cat or a dog before? That's how they fucking are, And over time, like, from what I understand, like, the creature does start to listen to you a little bit more and stuff like that. And it feels naturalistic in that way. And I think Shadow of the Colossus is the same way, where it's like, yeah, like, if the game felt just like a totally smooth, everything went exactly your way, there was no such thing as fuck-ups. It's like D&D, right? It's like, that's why I love D&D with rolling the dice, is because, like, sometimes the fuck-ups are better than the successes. Like that stuff makes you feel more connected. The ability to fail is what makes certain things feel more real,
Oh shit. Well, I enjoyed my failures climbing those fucking things. That shit was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Just those
I had
moments where like you just barely have enough stamina to get onto a perch,
oh.
you know?
It's honestly like I had so many like just really like amazing moments in that game. Like that game actually does. There's like some moments where you're like, damn, that was cool. That was just badass.
Yeah.
What I just did. Because shit, the final Colossus, like, which is basically a set piece, is like you said. I think I was like talking to you when I was doing that one. That was a cool experience. I mean, fuck you guys, the game's been out forever. I'm gonna spoil it.
The game's like 15 years old.
I know. So like just the whole thing of just climbing, just getting up to him, like using like these tunnels and shit, like dodging from cover to cover. I was like, damn, this is cool. Then when you finally start climbing up him, dude's fucking massive.
Oh yeah.
And then you gotta hit him in some weak points. You climb onto his arm, hit him in another weak point to get his other arm to go over to you, and you have to like time it right and like jump to his other arm. I won't lie to you, that actually did take me a while to pull off because I was like
The
kind of
the scale of some of those colossi are
oh
so
yeah,
impressive.
oh yeah,
Especially when you consider that this is a PS2 game.
shit.
This game is almost as old as you are. Like this game
Not
is
that young.
old. Yeah. Well, no, I'm not. But I'm just saying this game. In a few years, this game will be old enough to join the military, Todd. Like this
Yeah,
game is old.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like it's impressive when you look at some of the scale of these colossi, and you're just like shit. You know?
Oh, dude, I absolutely loved it. Like, there's just I loved every single moment of the game, and it's mainly because basically figured out how to deal with them by my damn self.
Yeah, that's
I
that's the
didn't,
beauty of it.
I didn't want to look up anything. I legitimately wanted to immerse myself in the game, and I wanted to figure out everything by myself.
You just
And I
wanted to
effectively did.
live those cutscenes.
Oh Lord, that final cutscene's long as shit.
I got a kick out of that. I don't know, like, have you always said that and I've just never noticed it, or what?
It's funny as I think that was like yesterday was like one of the first times I ever said it.
I've never heard you say that before. I don't think.
It was just I don't know. It just came to my mind and I just said it and you loved it.
Like we're in a Skype call, just kind of hanging out. I'm playing Uncharted. Finally got my platinum in the Lost Legacy, because we're both just kind of like biding our time until God of War comes out,
Basically.
and we're both just kind of cleaning up stuff on our backlog to kill time. I was playing Uncharted and Todd's finishing up Shadow of the Colossus, and the whole time's like, all right, let's live these cutscenes. I'm like, wait, what does that even mean? Let's live these cutscenes? The fuck does that mean? And so like I had to like fuck with them a few times. Like you okay over there? You just living those cutscenes? And then I was just like, has he said this like his whole life and I've just never noticed it?
Never. That was like legit the first time I ever said it.
Anyway, yeah, I'm glad you played it and liked it.
I think that's what makes it. I think that's what makes it funnier is the fact that I've never said that before in my life.
Yeah, but it was one of those things where like I remember like after you had played Mario Odyssey in one gross sitting, you were like, oh, like my life is so empty now. What am I gonna play? And I was like, shit, you never technically picked up Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
So you went ahead and bought it and played it and loved it. So.
I think it ended up being like 3 sittings of me, like 3 or 4 sittings. Like I was basically doing maybe like 2 or 3 colossi a day, basically.
Right.
And I was trying to make this shit last, but then it was just like it's almost addicting. Like I was like, God, I love this. I want to keep on playing.
Yeah, of course.
And
yeah, no, it's. I mean, there's a reason that people laud it as a classic.
Oh, dude.
I
sat there like maybe like halfway through. I'm like, I see why this game's like called a masterpiece.
Yeah,
like
I mean, people love it.
Yeah,
it's a great game. It is like for me, like I played Ico or Eco or whatever you want to call it, and like Eco, it's okay. Like it's I like the story of it and stuff like that, but Shadow of the Colossus is like when Fumito Ueda's like really. Like, that's a really impressive piece of work there. And, like, I'm looking forward to playing The Last Guardian one day.
I actually kind of want to play The Last Guardian myself now.
Yeah. I mean, you got to understand that it's not going to be
Oh yeah,
like that. It's more of like a
it's
puzzle
its own
game.
thing. Yeah, it's more of a yeah, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, you kind of know the vibe of his games now, though.
Yeah.
Very like quiet, understated, introspective games. Ueda's games. Very like it feels like Ueda's games feel like they're like a Japanese fairy tale, just a quiet, whimsical sort of Japanese fairy tale with a dark edge to it. All of them have like a dark kind of bent just underneath the surface. And he definitely has a style that is present in all three of his games. So yeah, I'm looking forward to making the time to play Last Guardian.
Before we move on to the actual like topic of this shit, I want to shout out like, what is your favorite Colossus?
Yeah, I was talking to you about this. I mean, obviously, I love the poster boy, the sword boy.
Sword Boy is up on my list because that was just a fun experience.
But I also really like the flying ones. Like really, those are great. I think there's 2 or 3 flying ones.
2. There's the bird, and then there's like this basically like I call him Balloon Boy.
Yes, they're both great. Both great. My favorite though has always been the sort of like underwater one.
Yeah.
That one's always been my favorite for whatever reason. Like I just have very vivid memories. Like whenever I think back to playing Shadow of the Colossus on PS2, that's the one that always stands out. And then I also really think the first Colossus is a very standout, like just a great introduction to the whole to the mechanics. So
I'm gonna go ahead and say my favorite one. I really do enjoy the small boys a lot. Both
Me too.
Of them, like because those are more like those are really like you have to really use the terrain in those. Like that's what those really are. Because like you can't really do shit to them until you like fuck with their armor and all that.
There's not a bad fight in the game.
No. But I think my favorite one is actually number 15. If you do it in order, is it's the one in the fortress. I don't remember what his fucking. He's big as shit though.
Yeah.
He has a cleaver.
Yes.
I really enjoy that fight just off the strength of like it's another one that like you have to use him to get higher up, which I enjoy.
Right.
So like the whole deal is that you got to use him to step on this like up like this platform. He hits it with his foot, knocks it up to the point where you could actually climb up higher. Then you got to get him to attack the walls. Things like fall that you can climb even higher. And then at that point you have him destroy a bridge so you can actually jump to him. It's like, oh I love it.
Yeah, that is one of the more like complicated ones. I definitely did enjoy that one.
Yeah, and then you like when you get rid of the sigil on like his head, and then you're like, all right, now what? Then if you pay attention, you see on his arm, oh, there's a weak point. Hello.
Yeah.
Climb down. So then you realize that, like that's where his other sigil is. His sigil's gonna be in his fucking hand.
Yeah, it's good shit. Good. All good boss fights. Like just a great collection of fights. Like.
Yeah, like I enjoyed every single one. Like I was even telling you, like one of my favorite I think my favorite one to ever like attack, like just actually jump onto him was the bird. That was just a cool fucking moment.
Yeah, because it's like that timing thing, right?
Yeah, it's just straight timing with that.
You just know, you're just like, all right, wait for it. Yeah, it's that satisfaction. Yeah, the game.
And at that point, you just start soaring off into the fucking sky. You're like, ooh.
Yeah. No, the game kind of enters that contract with you, right, from the very get go, the very beginning. When you do that first Colossus fight, you kind of know exactly what you're getting into, and you know it's only going to scale up from there, and it never like. The game never really like lets up from that in terms of the fights, but I also love that the game gives you that. I mean, it makes you go traverse the world from Colossus to Colossus, and it gives you that breathing room between fights, And
sometimes that light's not very helpful.
and I think I told you, I think intentionally so, Yeah, great game. I'm glad you finally played it, and I'm glad you loved it. Before we move on to the main topic, I do want to talk about the new Overwatch event, because, and I...
I straight up forgot about that.
Well, yeah. Well, you and I are the biggest Overwatch fans in the world that don't play the game enough. Even though we'll
Yep.
probably be playing it more pretty soon because we got a friend who's gonna play it with us. But Overwatch Retribution event started, I think, on the 10th, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, you and I played through the PvE content, and I wanted to talk about it. Normally with an Overwatch event, it's just a fucking Overwatch event with new loot boxes, but this one actually has a pretty interesting PvE element that is different from the PvE stuff they've done in the past.
I mean, there's actually like cutscenes and shit. Not really a cutscene, more of just like a comic panel.
The
Oh,
intro to it is straight up a cutscene. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it is an actual cutscene. It gives more, a little more backstory to like certain things. Because this is basically kind of like right before the fall of Overwatch, isn't it?
Yeah,
Type shit?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's kind of touching on the Blackwatch shit.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because like they have two kind of modes that it's a very simple, straightforward kind of mission. It's just kind of a
escape, basically.
Yeah, an extraction mission kind of thing, and you're just killing a bunch of things. But what's interesting about it is like they introduce enemy types that are really really cool, and almost a combination of different enemy types. Like. They have the assassin who kind of does some tracer shit, but is also very melee focused, like a Genji type character.
Yeah, it's like a tracer, like Genji hybrid. Then there's basically the heavy. That's basically Reinhardt and Orisa and like Love Child, basically.
It's interesting. Like it was, and then it opens with like a flat out cutscene and. The characters, you've got, like I said, you can play the mission. There's a mode where you can play the mission with any character. But the main mode has you choose between Moira, Reaper, McCree, and Genji. Yeah. And it's interesting because they've actually added just a swath of voice lines that are relevant to it, too. And it makes you, it really... makes me wish that Overwatch had some sort of like single player campaign. But it is going to be nice. Like it's nice to see Overwatch kind of like, because they've done PvE content in the past with the Drunkenstein's Revenge stuff.
Yeah, they also did that one with where you played as Reinhardt, Torb, Mercy, or Tracer.
Yeah, the Uprising and stuff like that. Yeah, like they did all of that, but it's never been as like fleshed out as this one. And by the way, I found out what that hotfix yesterday was, that patch yesterday.
Oh, what was it?
They made it so that not everybody has to be boarded on the dropship for the mission to succeed.
God bless.
Yeah, they made it so that like if everybody else is on the dropship and somebody's just out there going Rambo, if they die, the mission just ends and everybody else succeeds.
I want to talk about that. Let's talk about
okay,
that first attempt.
Yeah, so it ends. The mission culminates in kind of a, hold the fort for like 5 minutes while your extraction person is like coming in a transport vehicle to get you out of there, and everybody has to load up onto it to end the mission. Well, Todd and I are sitting there like, all right, let's end it, and enemies are just still coming, just infinitely. And while Todd and I are sitting there, and I'm like, all right, I guess these guys are still out there fighting. It's like, all right, I guess we're gonna fight some more enemies, and then everybody died, and we fucking failed the mission.
And then the second attempt. Again. Well, then we decided to do the play as any character. And then that was entertaining because I just sat there and played as Roadhog. God, I took a lot of damage.
Yeah, I just sat there and played as Torbjorn, and like it was a lot of fun.
That was a surprisingly good pick. I didn't think that was going to be a good pick.
What, Torbjorn?
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't think it would be that good.
Oh, I knew it would be because there's a lot of like it's not the structure of it is not very forward movement based. It's a lot of like, oh, we got to wait for the door to be cracked open. Oh, we got to wait for the transport. A lot of
hold the fort.
Yeah, so I knew that. I knew that the turret would come in handy, but also I knew that the armor would come in handy too. So I thought Torbjorn would be a good pick. I want quick segue. Because I actually haven't talked to you about this yet. I bought the Art of Overwatch Collector's Edition. I've been getting into video game art books lately.
You sent me some pictures and some videos.
Yeah,
and
you
shit.
never replied to that. I wanted to get your thoughts on that. So like I sent you pictures. So just real quick, because for context, like this art book, it's a huge, gorgeous. I mean, I highly recommend the Art of Overwatch Collector's. I mean, just as a package, it's amazing. It comes with 3 like exclusive prints, very nice, very high quality. Like a 700+ page art book. It's like thick, like a fucking phone book.
Shit.
And it just has tons of artwork, and it's so funny to go back and look at the original concepts for some of these characters. And I sent you like the original concepts for like Pharah were way different.
That's actually the one I wanted to talk about. It's basically like a dinosaur.
Yeah, like they had a few ideas with her.
Can I tell you some funny shit about that? Is the game Garbage Watch, or aka Paladins?
Paladins, yeah.
I think there is a legit character that is that. But instead of like a dinosaur, it's a dragon.
They bought the fucking art book and they're just like, oh, let's make this a character.
I made that. Like I was gonna make that joke. Like I think they got a hold of that art book.
Yeah, I think the Raptorian skin for Pharah is a reference to that, because yeah, the original concepts for Pharah, they were going like originally it was going to be a male kind of like fighter pilot. Then they had like a short, stocky little guy with like a big mustache, kind of bomber looking.
I saw that. That was funny.
Yeah, and then a straight up like fucking dinosaur.
See, I honestly think that's when they didn't. I don't think they knew like how stupid they wanted to get with this game.
Right.
Like they didn't know if they wanted to keep it somewhat grounded.
It's so funny just to see like the way that and I sent you Reinhardt too. Like originally he was going to be an Omnic. Like it looked like they had a ton of like robot designs for Reinhardt, and then some more like African inspired designs for Reinhardt. And it makes you wonder like just the evolutions that these characters have taken, because I mean, this game, development of Overwatch, before it was ever Overwatch, it was Project Titan. Yep. And it was going to be an MMO, like kind of Blizzard's follow-up to WoW. And, of course, inevitably got shit-canned, and from the bones of it, they created Overwatch. So some of this art and some of these character concepts are possibly going back, 10 years at this point.
Shit.
If not more.
Yeah, because one thing I know, I actually know this, is Genji and Hanzo were like the same character at one point.
Right. Yeah, it's really, really, really interesting. Like the development, and I've said this before on the podcast, I'll say it again, like sometimes the development of the games, the story of the development of games is sometimes more interesting than the story of the games themselves. And Overwatch is a definite example of that. And I really love the game, and I love the, even though I don't play it as much as I wish I did, I really do love Overwatch, and I really love learning more about its development. It's really fucking interesting. And yeah, the Retribution event, just to go back to that for a second before we get into our main topic, it's really like just a really solid example of like, it's nice to like kind of like, okay, like we can see what you can do now with the cut scenes and the like, just expand on this for further PvE events. Just like take this and make it even better. Because like I'm really, really liking that cutscene. It sounds like a dumb thing, but like just getting a cutscene like that in Overwatch, you're just like, oh man, like it feels real now, Because there are great stories to be told,
Yeah, there's something special about an actual cutscene in Overwatch.
Because there's, Overwatch has an interesting lore and backstory and stuff like that, and like you only get it in the comics. You only get it in the comic books and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I want to see this stuff in the game, and to see that kind of wish represented in a cutscene in Retribution was nice. So yeah, it's a good event. Check it out if you're an Overwatch player. It's definitely worth the playthrough.
So there's one thing I'm gonna need from you though, Seth.
What's that?
Send me the Roadhog concept art.
So, interestingly, Roadhog did not go through too many changes. Like,
God
they
bless.
kind of had a clear vision for Roadhog.
Delicious.
He,
That
will
there's
send
something
it to
just
you, though.
there's something better about that for me.
Yeah, like they kind of knew right from the get-go the way they're it's like Reaper, like they knew kind of where they wanted to go with Reaper.
They had like a general roadmap, and they kind of found themselves to like a.
But if you
Yeah.
look at I think I might have shown you Reaper's designs. Like,
Yeah, you did.
there's like 20 different takes on Reaper on a page. Roadhog's a similar way, where it's like
But they're all like pretty similar though.
they're all in a similar vein, just kind of different interpretations. And like the cloak was handled a different way, the skull looks different or whatever. And Roadhog's similar, where it's like they knew the vibe that they wanted Roadhog to have, and the sort of player character that he was going to be, but different design concepts for him. I'll send it to you. It's all well worth a look. And I was actually surprised the art book actually has like a Risa in there too, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't think it was going to have any DLC characters. So, yeah, let's if you're ready, let's move into our main topic.
About 46 minutes in, let's go.
Let's rev up that good tent. I promise I'll stop saying that after this episode.
You don't have to. I like it.
Okay, so last week, if you're a listener, you know we ranked our favorite home video game consoles, and sort of as a sequel to that, this week we are going to rank our favorite handheld game consoles. Now, and we said this last week too, Todd. Todd, you know I love a good parameter. You know I love a good list parameter. I love setting my boundaries, Todd. I don't know. I wanna just quickly say, same as the last list that we did, we are only going to be talking about consoles that we've actually played. We don't want to talk about things that we don't have experience with. And another parameter is that, like, we don't want to discredit the fact that the Switch is a handheld console, but like the Switch is just kind of like inarguably the best handheld console. Like, it's kind of like not even a question.
Yeah.
It's almost like just an objective fact that the Switch is, like, just in terms of like everything it's about, kind of like inevitably going to be the number one for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's super interesting to talk about the Switch here. We talked about the Switch and the home console. I think that even though the Switch is a hybrid home console, handheld console, I think it was more interesting to put the Switch in the home console list versus the handheld console list. Like, I think the conversation about the Switch was more interestingly had there than it would be here. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I don't think we're going to include the Switch in that sense. But know that we are still, of course, acknowledging that the Switch is a handheld console and deserves a place on this list. It's just that it would be at the top. Like, it wouldn't be interesting, you know? So with that, I think I have like one or two more than you.
I have
How many
5,
do you have?
So.
You have 5? Okay, yeah, I have 7. So go ahead, let's do your 2 and then I'll catch up.
Wait, what?
We'll go ahead and... Oh, wait, no, I have more than you. That's right.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck are you
bad.
talking about?
It was weird because, like, I remember last week, I think it was the opposite. I think
No,
you had.
it was-
I think I had to catch up with you, didn't I?
No, it was the same. Like, you've had more.
Shit, I'm sorry. I'm just losing my mind.
Like, it was funny to me because I like, legit, you said, I think I have more than you. And then it's like, yeah, I have 5. You're like, oh, I have 7. So, yeah, you do your 2. I'm like, what?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm just fucking, dude. I want you to imagine Albus Dumbledore when he took Harry down to that cave, and he was like, he's like, force me to drink it. I'm gonna beg you not to make me drink it, but just force me, or I'm gonna go mad, type shit. That's basically me on a day-to-day basis right now.
Ugh.
Just
And it
fucking,
also doesn't help is I think we've basically woke up to do this. So
I'm like, force me to live. You gotta force me to do it. I'm gonna beg you not to let me live, but just force me to live. All right. So I'll do my two, and then I guess we'll catch up. So, bottom of my list, and and I hate to put it on here, man, because like this really is a good console. It's the Vita, okay? The Vita is a great system. It really is. Great, great hardware. Some of until the Switch came out, really the best, inarguably the best handheld hardware, but didn't sell well enough out of the gate, so Sony kind of dropped support for it real quick, And I think the mistake that Sony made with the Vita is that they were trying to capitalize on like, oh, it's like a little handheld PS3. It's a PS3 that you can play your games on the go, And I don't think the market was ready for that back then. I think the Vita was a little too ahead of its time. Like the market's ready for that now, but back then people were like, the Vita released in the height of like the mobile craze, where everybody just wanted to play fucking Angry Birds and Candy Crush. They wanted those quick hits of gaming. They didn't want to play long 20-hour games on the go. And they do now because look at the Switch. But I think the Vita was released at a bad time and was not properly supported, even though there's still plenty of like weird little games. Like the last game I played on my Vita was it came out either last year or the year before. It was called Severed, and I fucking loved it. Like it was great. It was a Vita exclusive for a long time, and I really loved that. Like these weird little kind of indie games were being supported on Vita, and I don't know, it's a great system, but it just sort of like had no other place to be on this list than the bottom, because really, I mean, I've really enjoyed all of the handhelds that I've played. I don't really have a bad thing to say about most of these handhelds. Like my time with handheld gaming has been pretty much diamonds all around. But yeah, the Vita had to be at the bottom, unfortunately. Somebody had to be there, Todd. Somebody has to be getting.
It honestly probably would have been if it was on my list, it would have been at the bottom.
So you never fucked with a Vita, huh?
Never. Ever. Never even touched one.
Wow, interesting. Okay. And again, pains me to put it low because this is only a list of 7, so really, is it that low? The Nintendo DS.
Now. This is technically my next one. This is technically my 5.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
So
yeah, I guess we'll do that because it would have been next. You would have been up next anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo DS. Good system. Like I really like the DS. Now, which one did you have? Which one are you taking into consideration when you're making this list? Did you just have the original?
I had the original. Yeah.
Right. I had the original too, but I've actually owned every iteration of the DS. Like I upgraded to DS. I've always been stupid about that. Like I'll upgrade to the next version.
That's some real shit. I probably have had. God, how many versions was there? What was the original one?
The original one was that big fat gray one.
No, I had both. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was the DS, which was the big fat gray one. The DS Lite, which was the more slender one with the plastic casing, lighter. Mm-hmm. Then there was the DSi, which had the camera on it, and then there was the XL versions, the DSi XL. Okay.
So I had I've had the standard DS and I've had the DS Lite.
Okay. Yeah, it's a great little system, and I mean, it kind of sucks because, and we'll talk about the Game Boy Advance later, but like it did kind of kill the GBA. Like the GBA was not on the market for very long because. They had the idea, I don't know if you remember with GBA, it had integration with certain like GameCube games where you could use it almost as a second screen. And so they're like, oh, dual screen gaming is a thing. Let's make a handheld out of it, Mm-hmm. And so they did. And the DS came out and it sort of killed the Game Boy Advance. But, dual screen gaming is still like a totally valid thing. Like when you look at the 3DS, it's funny how like the concept of playing a game with 2 screens like that is commonplace now. You know, it was weird and innovative at the time, but like now it's like a useful tool. You know,
Yeah, it's kind of a standard, kind of.
yeah. Well, like yeah, just second screen in general is just very like, it's not so weird anymore. You know, like you look at a 3DS and you're not like weirded out by that concept like you were when the DS was first revealed. You know, and I think Nintendo handhelds are really interesting because just the evolution that they've taken. You know, and the DS was definitely the start of something interesting, and yeah, I love it. And I mean, you know, and it's funny too. I gotta say, just right on the top, when you're talking about these handheld games, like 99% of my handheld memories are associated with like one series, and that's Pokemon. And you know, playing Pokemon like is so integral to my handheld gaming experiences, and I'll talk about that more as we go. But like, I just gotta say, like right off the rip, like Pokemon is like so important to this list. Like
That's some real shit.
Like you never realize how like sort of platform defining the Pokemon series was. But it really did define the way I feel about some of these consoles. Anyway, did you? I'm sorry. I feel like I dominated that.
That's you covered it though.
So I guess I'll go with my number 5, and then from there we'll do your 4. So my number 5 is the PSP Challenge Everything.
I hate you because I was planning on making that joke and you ruined it.
I'll never forget that, man. I was at your place one summer in Chicago, and I, for whatever reason, just like wanted to buy a PSP, and I think we went to the Target by your house, and I bought a PSP there, and I think a copy of like Vice City Stories. And I'll never forget that. I don't know why, but like I opened it, and I just like started playing it, and I just go PSP, and then you were doing something else, and you look over at me, and we both look at each other dead in the eyes, and we both just whisper to each other, "Challenge Everything."
I think it's one of our longest running like inside jokes at this point.
I'll never forget that. I don't even remember if was that even the fucking PSP like logo, like the catchphrase.
No, dude, that's EA. That's EA Sports. Challenge Everything.
Yeah, exactly. Why did we both think that was PSP though?
That's a good question.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why did we both think that and then in unison whisper it to each other?
Well, like I think it's
That's
the way
so fucking
like
weird.
I don't know, in a weird way, it's like EA Sports, PSP. Like I don't know, it's
Yeah.
just kind of
It
like
just has that right shape.
Yeah.
It's like the Mandela effect, right? Where like you think something, it's like the Berenstain Bears or whatever.
Yeah.
And like growing up, you would have sworn to God it was the Bernstein Bears, you know? Like you would have fucking gun to your mother's head, you know, said that was the Bernstein Bears, but then you look
and your
back
mother
and,
would be dead.
Exactly, because it's literally the Berenstain Bears, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's just so funny to me. Like, I'll never forget that.
Wait, what number did you say this was for you?
This is my number 5.
Okay, so you're number 5. Okay.
Yeah. So unless that's your number 4, let's move on to your number 4.
PSP challenge.
Well, so you know what are some of your PSP memories? Like, what are some of your favorite games on PSP?
I remember I had like some stupid on those what do they call the UMDs?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had a game that I remember I played this a lot on like the road trips to Kentucky. It was like it was one of those games. It was just basically a collection of like old school games, like old school arcade games. I'd play the shit out of that. I remember the games on there because this is gonna be another episode of Todd in the Middle. No, but like I vaguely remember like it was a collection of games that I used to play on there. Like I don't remember what the fuck. It was like some random ass like collection of like old school arcade games, old
Probably,
school like beat 'em ups and shit.
It's probably one of those like Namco Museum releases or
Yeah,
something
probably,
like that.
probably.
Yeah.
I love those. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, no, there's definitely not. They released a couple like compilations like that, like Namco Museum, and I think there's an Atari collection on PSP. Yeah, no, I loved I love the PSP. I love some of the weird games on PSP too, like Patapon, Loco Roco, which they actually have released on PS4 now. Yeah, just that weird shit. I love that weird shit. I never played Monster Hunter really on PSP.
Is it a thing
Never-
on PSP?
Oh yeah, there was a couple Monster Hunters on PSP.
Yeah, because again, I don't think we really fucked with Monster Hunter until like 3DS.
No, yeah. So it's, I don't know, like and really, I really loved the two Grand Theft Auto games on PSP, Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories. Particularly Liberty City Stories is a really good game, really underrated game. It was just so impressive to have like a GTA game in the palm of your hand at the time, even though it was like, you know, they kind of looked like shit, and you know they definitely had like the hardware limitations, but like it was still, I mean, it was handheld GTA, you know. And that's another thing that I do want to quickly shout out. Going back to the DS, Chinatown Wars on DS, really good game, really underrated game. That you should all try to play if you ever get the chance. They actually, interestingly, released that on PSP as well eventually. But the touchscreen controls on DS are way better. Anyway, my number, I guess 4. God, I'm having a hard time keeping track of this list because our shit's so weird. My number 4 is this is where the 3DS falls for me. Did you think it was gonna be higher?
I did actually.
Yeah, it would have been, but again, like, handheld gaming consoles are so good, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Like, handhelds were definitely always more your thing. Like, I've fucked with handhelds, but nowhere near the level you did.
I fuck with them way less now. When I was younger, though, handhelds were a huge part of my life, and as we get further up this list, we'll touch more and more on that. But yeah, the 3DS is a great system. The reason that I'm not gonna lie, it's still amazing to me how they accomplished 3D with no glasses. First of all, like, I think that's undersold with a lot of people. Like, the fact that you can look at a 3D game on the 3DS with no glasses at all. I mean, that's fucking amazing.
I'll be honest though, it gives me a headache.
It doesn't give me a headache. I know people that it does give a headache to. And you know, I'll be honest, like, there are a lot of games now that don't support 3D because they're trying to extract more power out of the system. And, you know, a lot of times I'll play the game with the 3D off. But, like, there are some games that make great use of the 3D slider on the 3DS. And again, just the fact that it even exists and works as well as it does is really fucking remarkable. Like, I've got to give them credit for that. I think it's got a pretty great library of games. I think it has some amazing remasters of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. I think that the hardware iterations they've had for the 3DS have been unilaterally really great.
That's what you get for trying to use big words. Not
using them big words, boy. You try to use them big words, you're gonna stumble on them. But no, I really love the. I've bought like I'm an idiot. Like, I've bought them all. You know, from the original sort of like clamshell fingerprint magnet glossy 3DS, the 3DS XL, the now new 3DSs. I don't have the 2DS, but I respect the 2DS. That little slice of cake design, I respect it. But no, what more can I say about it? I mean, I really like it. I think it's getting a little long in the tooth. Like, I wish Nintendo would just kill it and go full on into Switch at this point. But the 3DS is a great system. What's next for you?
Well, what number are we on? 3?
Yes.
This is where the Game Boy Advance is for me.
Wow, okay.
What did you think it would be?
I thought it'd be higher.
It could be, technically. Because this is technically where this is where my memories are a little stronger.
My memories have more strength.
Because I know this is where Ruby was, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's okay. Good, I had to clarify that.
Yeah, this is where Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire
When
came
we
in.
when
Yeah.
we delve into the past, my memories are not there. But no, that's my biggest memory with the Game Boy Advance is Ruby. Like that's actually one of the that's like I played earlier Pokemon games, but I
Right.
cannot tell you anything about them.
Until you get to Ruby and Sapphire.
Yeah, basically.
Did you
'Cause
ever pick
Ruby-
up Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire?
I never did, but I wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Um,
probably too late now, but
I always think back to like I have a really like shitty moment with Ruby though. I think I've told you about that.
I think you've actually told this story on the podcast.
I
with
probably
Groudon.
did. I probably did. Yeah, the whole thing with Groudon.
Yeah,
broke
I think we talked about Pokemon on one episode, and I think you talked about Groudon.
Yeah, because that's like one of those things that has stuck with me.
Right.
See, most of my memories are just painful memories.
Yeah, no, Pokemon is so closely associated with like handheld gaming
Pain
for me.
and suffering. No, I'm just playing.
Also, yeah, no, but when it comes to GBA, man, I got two words. I got two words for you: Golden Sun.
Oh God. Oh God, yes. You know, it's funny is I don't think I played a bit of the first one, but I played the second one, and I think I like the second one like way more than what I played of the first one.
I don't like it way more, but I do like it more. Yeah, the Lost Age was great. Yeah, one novel thing about the Lost Age is that like they had this janky ass. Like I respect that they let you do it, but like they literally made you, if you had played the first one, you could go in and program the characters in the Lost Age to have all of your same gear from the first one, all of your same abilities, like carry over literally everything from the first one.
I respect that.
But you would have to sit there for like a fucking hour just like getting everything set up like the way it was, you know? And man, like it was rough, but I respected that they put it in there and it worked. And it was cool that you were actually like playing as Felix in the Lost Age.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a nice little twist. And they did a Golden Sun on DS, but it was just okay. You know. I do miss that series.
I wanted to fuck with it, the one on DS or 3DS, but I never got it. I was like, I decided against it, and I'm happy I did.
It's good. I mean, I wouldn't go that far. It's not one of those like you should be happy you skipped it. It is good. Like it's worth playing, but it's not like, you know, it was a little bit of a disappointment because I remember when they announced Dark Dawn, I was like, oh fuck, Golden Sun's coming back? Are you shitting me?
I mean, that was kind of like my initial reaction too, because I was like, ooh.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, like I have great memories with Golden Sun and Lost Age. And it's a good game. Like, it's not, you know, it's like a 7 out of 10, you know, like it's not bad. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I got, you know what? No, I'll get to this later. I'll get to my number 3 first. My number 3 is the Game Boy Color. This is where the Game Boy Color falls for me. And
It's technically my next one.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Fuck it. We'll probably just tag team it then.
Yeah, like I put it up. I put it here just because it's just like it is technically my first. It's my first handheld.
Oh, okay. Okay. So do you remember any games you want to shout out, or is that foggy
It's
territory?
foggy right there. It's foggy territory. But I had to at least shout it out because I had to put it a little higher because it was the first one.
But did you play like Pokemon Gold and Silver on there or anything like that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Come on. But again, can I tell you about those games? Fuck no.
Did you play any of the Zelda games that were on Game Boy Color?
That is something I know for a fact I did not.
Okay. So like the two Oracle games you didn't play?
No, like honestly, it's like you said, like Pokemon is kind of like a major part of handhelds, and it's kind of what it was for me. So it's like, but memory wise, I don't remember shit until Ruby.
Yeah, Game Boy Color definitely. again, still very much about Pokemon Gold and Silver. Actually, still my favorite Pokemon games. I
Damn,
love.
really? To this day.
Yeah, to this day, easy. Yeah, I love the region. I love. It was so mind blowing how you could like go back to Kanto afterwards. All thanks to Satoru Iwata. And yeah, like just I love Ho-Oh and Lugia. Like I think it's a great next step. I think Gold and Silver was just the perfect like sequel generation. Starts to get a little foggy. I think after that, I think it starts to get a little more hit and miss. But I think, yeah, Gen 2 is great. I really love the Zelda games. I love the 2 Oracle games. I love Link's Awakening, Link's Awakening DX. I love the, Game Boy Color just had a lot of good, like, if not just good ports, it had good, like, weird games. Like, I'm thinking of, like, Kirby Tilt and Tumble. Like just dumb shit like that, you know? The Mega Man games that were on Game Boy Color were good. The the versions of Mario that were on there I enjoyed. Just dumb shit. I remember I played a Yu-Gi-Oh
I envy
game.
your memory.
I remember I played a Yu-Gi-Oh game on I used to be into Yu-Gi-Oh and I played a Yu-Gi-Oh game on Game Boy Color.
Let me just say something. Everybody used to be in Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't give a fuck who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember what it was called. There's a Yu-Gi-Oh game on Game Boy Color that I was really into. That I played, but yeah, Game Boy Color was. I definitely have a lot of memories with that, and that was your number 3, right? Or 2?
No, two.
Okay, so my number 1, or no, sorry, my number 2. Sorry, this is all weird for me. My number 2 is the original Game Boy. This is the first handheld that I ever played. Was the original Game Boy. Before we get into Game Boy Color. The Game Boy is where I had my first exposure to, again, Pokemon, with Red and Blue. Literally the first Pokemon releases. That's where I got into it. And man, it changed my young life. Like, I was so into Pokemon. Like, I can't even tell you. I have great memories of Pokemon Red and Blue and Yellow. And I mean, these experiences kind of shaped the way I was as a young Seth Sturgill. Sitting on the bus with the link cables and shit like that. I mean, this is some primo shit. These things hold true in my memory, and I'll never forget it. Even though if you look at the Game Boy as opposed to the Game Boy Color, like some of the Game Boy games, like the actual just pure Game Boy, are not quite as good. Like the Game Boy Color versions of these games are technically better. But I still just have such a nostalgia for the actual Game Boy, Anyway.
I feel that.
What's your number 1?
3DS.
Really? I'm surprised by that. I feel like you haven't really spent that much time with 3DS.
Oh, I've spent more time than you understand. I mean, not as much as you fucking motherfucker. Because your ass be sitting there.
I've spent more time with it than you understand.
I'm like in a weird like haze of like sleep still.
You know nothing of power. Okay, yeah.
But like,
I'm just
honestly,
surprised, that's all.
Yeah, it's the only place it could have ended up, honestly, in this list that I did in like 10 seconds.
So what? So I mean, what games do you want to shout out? I mean, help me understand you, Todd. Help me understand its placement.
I actually played a good amount of Monster Hunter on there, actually.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter's good on there.
I actually got the 3DS is the main reason I got Monster Hunter World.
That's fair.
But
did you ever go back and play? I remember. I think you own A Link Between Worlds, right?
I did play a little more. I still need to beat it. I still need to play.
Man.
Still need to play more. It's just
such a great game.
Honestly, just put it on the Switch. Maybe I'll play it.
Some real shit.
Put everything on the Switch.
That's some real shit. It's so hard to go back to the 3DS. Like I've been playing, dusting it off to play little Detective Pikachu here and there. But it's hard.
They just need to put everything on the Switch at this point. Like, and I'd play these games.
Is there any Any other games that you spent like a significant amount of time with on 3DS?
Smash.
Oh yeah, yeah, Smash. I definitely played a lot of Smash.
I didn't just play Smash with you. I just sit there and play Smash my damn self.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, I think I put. I want to say I put like 150 hours or something on the.
I don't think I put as much
Smash.
as that, but I definitely put. I was up there.
Yeah, on 3DS, man. Like I would be remiss not to. I've mentioned this before. I think even just in the last episode, Animal Crossing, dude, on 3DS.
That's where I said like I may not have put as much hours as you fucking Animal Crossing Wild Leaf ass motherfucker.
New Leaf, but
No,
Wild
whatever.
Leaf would have
Either
been a
way.
better title.
It would have. What if that is a better title?
Animal Crossing Wild Leaf. That almost
That is a
sounds
better
like
name.
the porn.
I feel like that
parody.
is I feel like that's in the name of something, and it's just like it's in my head for some reason.
There's an Animal Crossing Wild World.
There you go.
Yeah.
I joined them together.
Yeah, Wild Leaf though that does sound like the Animal Crossing porn parody that has to exist. Yeah, my number one is Game Boy Advance. I fucking love the Game Boy Advance. I struggle. There's probably about a monthly struggle with me, Todd, because in Alexandria, are you familiar with the company Game Exchange?
Yes.
So yeah, Game Exchange is a company that sells like retro games and retro consoles and stuff like that, in addition to modern stuff and movies and TV. But and shout out to my good friend Provost, who actually manages. He's the store manager of a Game Exchange in Tennessee, where he lives. And I have like a monthly struggle where sometimes I'll pop in there and I'll just kind of see what I can find, see if there's anything that kind of stands out to me. And my eyes will invariably fall on a SP, a GBA SP. And I just think to myself, do I want to do it?
No, you don't, because you mean it's like you see it, you think you'd play it, but you won't.
I want to just I want to go back to 11 or 12-year-old Seth or whatever it was, with his GBSP. On road trip to Kentucky with one of those fucking stupid lights that attach to it. You attach a stupid light to it so that you could see it better in the dark. I very much want to recapture that. But this is something I was gonna say earlier when I was talking about Golden Sun. So we already talked about Golden Sun, and obviously that's great. Ruby and Sapphire, that's great. I got 2 words for you, Todd. 2 more words. The 2 words earlier were Golden Sun. The 2 words now, WarioWare.
Oh shit! Was that the one when it first came out?
Yes.
Oh.
WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games, Todd. One of my favorite games. I love that stupid game.
I don't know why I always forget about that game until we bring it up. Because I played the shit out of that.
WarioWare.
I played the shit out of WarioWare.
I love that fucking game. That's another thing that I'm probably going to end up having to dust off the 3DS for, because I think in August they have a new WarioWare Gold or whatever WarioWare collection coming out on 3DS.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
Damn
I thought I told you about this.
You did not.
Yeah, it was in a recent Nintendo Direct, WarioWare Gold. It actually comes out in July 27th.
Well, Seth, I'm not like you. I don't have an IV of shit getting Nintendo streaming into my system.
Oh well, look, I'm sorry. I just bleed Nintendo. I also want to shout out real quick on the GBA games like Metroid Fusion, which was great. Advance Wars, the Zelda games on GBA like Minish Cap. Fucking love Minish Cap. God, just a great system, a good place for weird shit. You'll notice with me, I like weird shit, and the GBA was a good home for weird shit. And that's another. It's one of those like I said, the early kind of late 90s, early 2000s, like we talked about last week, where it's that was my time. The GBA fell into that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love it for that. I love the GBA. It definitely has a very nostalgic place in my heart. Anyway, anything that's my list, and that's your list. Did you want to add anything before we wrap it up?
All I've learned from doing this 2-part episode is my memory is shit, and I want to stay away from delving into the past.
I wonder if there was like some sort of like deep dive psychosis therapy you could go under, like that it would like solve some cold case murder or something like that.
Because like I want to be real, like dude, like I'm like really like just envious of like your memory because I don't remember shit.
I got a pretty decent memory.
Like
well,
like
I'll
you
say
like
this.
you give me a good couple trigger words. Oh, WarioWare. I'm like, oh, then it all like floods back. Oh yeah, I played the shit out of that.
Yeah, like I'll say this. I have a very good memory when it comes to video games. Like, I've often been told by like Anastasia said this. I think Dan's actually said this. It's like you should like be a video game historian type shit. I have a very good kind of like knowledge of video games and video game history and stuff like that. It just pertains to my interests, and that is where my memory is good. When it comes to the real life, Todd, who wants to remember that?
That's the issue. I don't remember anything.
Anyway, you got anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
No.
Right. So I forgot to plug in my Nerd Bourbon box, my 4 terabyte external hard drive, which has my outro script on it.
Oh no.
So we're just gonna wing it.
Wing
you guys
it.
been listening. You guys been listening to Nerd Bourbon. If you guys had a good time listening to us rank our favorite handhelds and being idiots and talking about our backlogs and slinging that good tent, had to get it in one more time. Why don't you throw us a follow or a sub on whatever service you're listening to us on, and if there's a service we aren't currently on that you want us on, let us know so we can make that happen for you. What do I normally say next? Shit.
You know what's funny is you were doing a really solid job up until that point.
Yeah, it's just
Like
funny because I've said it so many times.
Yeah. A
next,
part of
I
you was
think-
like, are you sure you're winging this shit?
Yeah, no, I'm winging it. Next, I think I normally say you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdbourbon. We are at nerdbourbon on Twitter and on Twitch. And I think beyond that, I think this is what I normally say. Beyond that, the best and only way we grow is if you tell your friends about us. And I think after that, I say get fucking dunked on. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.
See ya.